it's Sunday, and you know what all that means. It is time for Unturned Pages. We're back. How are you, Alisha?
I'm good. I've been all over the place today. Work, the rodeo, work, Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal Podcast, and now our podcast.
I've
been busy but fun.
Right? Like, I went to the gem show, and then I came home and did housework. So I know how that feels. But tonight, I'm super excited. I've been trying to get this guest on since the beginning of Unturned Pages, so like 4 years. It's been crazy. But I'm super excited for our guest tonight. I've met him a couple of times. Alisha will meet him in July at Paranormal Lockdown. We have Sam Baltrusis on, who is a paranormal author, investigator, researcher, clairvoyant. So let's just jump in and get him on. How about that, Alisha? Sound good?
Let's go.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
Good. I also had a long day. So when you were talking about your day, I'm like, oh my gosh, me too.
And your day's not even over. You get to do this interview and then you have to go straight back to work.
Yeah. So I work during the day. On the weekends, I work at the Titanic Museum in Boston. And then at nights, I work at an overnight. I work at a hotel overnight at a hotel. So, so it's just nonstop work for me.
Yeah, and you're always writing books, so that even adds more work to it.
Yeah, I try to combine the two. I actually the book that I'm writing now is Haunted Castles of New England, and so the Titanic Museum is actually in a haunted castle in Boston. So that I'm kind of double dipping there when it comes to the work and also content for my book. And then at the hotel, I write my books during the overnight shift. So
double whammy. You got some slow time at work. You can write your books and still get to do your job. It's a good equalization of time, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. I've been doing that. So I try my best to work at a haunted hotel, and
I've seen that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I've had some experiences. So I'm like, you know what? I want to work at a non-haunted hotel. Although I will say this, pretty much every hotel that I worked at, even if it's supposedly not haunted, I've had experience.
Is haunted.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So who is Sam Baltrusis? How did you get into this crazy field of the paranormal?
So I am the author of 18 paranormal themed books. My first book was Ghost of Boston. It came out in 2012. But before that, I was a journalist for about 20 years or so. So I wrote a story for a local magazine that turned into my first book, Ghost of Boston. And then I haven't looked back since. And the one that you have popped up there, Ghost of Salem, is the one that I'm known for. So that was my third book. And after I wrote Ghost of Salem, it just kind of catapulted me onto the paranormal scene. And everyone wanted to know about Boston and Salem. And I started getting like lecture gigs and all that, and when I first started, I was terrified of the paranormal. So it was almost kind of like me conquering my fears. And as it progressed, I started investigating and started having like ghostly encounters and actually talking to the spirits, if you will. And I went from interviewing people as a journalist to interviewing ghosts, and they responded.
It works. You know, it's like that TikTok that keeps going around of like, I think it's I can't remember what movie. It's two people talking back and forth. They're like, this is the perfect Estes method. You just get automatic responses right away. You don't have to wait.
Yeah, like when I do the Estes method, like I really it depends on who I'm working with. But when I definitely have this, I have one person I work with. Her name's Dana, and she'll do it. And then we did one in Salem that it was like that, where it was almost like she wasn't even in the room. She was actually in another location. And this is during COVID. And it was like she appeared in my head. Like I can see her in my head. And it was almost like we were communicating on a different plane, if you will. And so it was like direct responses when she was asking questions.
I love Estes Estes sessions that just like automatically or like dead on answers.
Yeah.
And when I do them, I can't remember anything I say. So I always have Larry or someone filming me so I can go back and listen to it later.
Yeah, if you do it right, and it sounds like you're doing it right. You use your abilities to connect as well, and I think that's I think people want to say exactly what they hear, and that's not how I do it, and that's not how I teach it. I'm like, listen, if you're going to do Estes, use your abilities to tap in, use the static to kind of go into alpha mode, and that it's almost like you're channeling, and it's a safe way to channel. And you can connect to the spirits, and you'll get visuals. I get pictures, so I'll like actually see things. You'll feel like something walking up to you. And sometimes if you're recording it, you can even hear other things happening in the room as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I do S's, I use the spirit box to put me into like a trance or like channeling, but I don't really listen to the spirit box. I just let spirit come through.
Yeah,
that's
and that is to me, that's the right way to do it. Of course, other people would disagree, but that's how I do it. And I'm glad that you do it that way too.
Yeah, and then like lately, I have a ghost box that Jeff made. Usually put it like next to me or kind of like near between me and Larry or whoever's doing it with me. And the last few times, I will say something and it comes to the FET box shortly after or at the same time sometimes. So it's kind of validating what I say with another piece of equipment. So it's really cool.
Do you also use dowsing rods? Like, I mean, I guess when you're under, it's probably not a good idea to use dowsing rods, but let's say someone's under, let's say like you're under, and then you can use dowsing rods to kind of validate what they're saying as well. So that's another. I add my dowsing rods to everything.
Alisha, we gotta make a mental note for that for May. When I'm doing Estes, you could do dowsing rods.
That would be cool.
And see if we get the same answers.
That'd be a good idea.
That would definitely be an idea. Thank you for that idea. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I try to integrate my dowsing rods in everything I do.
So, I know we talked before in the show. You have a connection to Lizzie Borden.
I do.
For people who don't know the story of Lizzie Borden and what happened, can you quickly go through that story and then talk about your connection to Lizzie?
Yeah. First of all, like the show that I did with Chris Fleming and Dave Schrader was called Curse of Lizzie Borden. And that was sort of a culmination of many, many years of research and connections that I didn't know I had for many years. So 1892, there were two horrific murders that happened in Fall River. Abby Borden and Andrew Borden were murdered by an axe. And it was a savage murder. The two people that were in the house in Fall River was Lizzie Borden, Andrew Borden's daughter, and Bridget Sullivan, who was the maid. And Lizzie Borden was ultimately accused of murdering her father and stepmother, but she was ultimately acquitted. So, but after that, she spent her whole life. It was the crime of the century, and so people talked about this murder. These murders, and she wasn't able to live it down. In fact, the whole Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her father 40 whacks. That one actually is that was told while she was still alive, so people would taunt her and throw eggs at her house. So it was a pretty sad post-trial existence for her.
Yeah, definitely. I've driven past the Lizzie Borden house and Maplecroft. And I'm like, I want to get in there so bad, but every time I get into town that way, because I'm from the Midwest, they're always booked. I'm like, dang it. One of these days, I will get into the Lizzie Borden house.
Yeah, and so for me, like it's a story that's been a part of my life for a long time. When I was a journalist, starting off as a journalist in the 90s, not to age myself, but in the 90s, my first article was on the Lizzie Borden house turning into a bed and breakfast, and that was for Newsweek.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was even back then. This is long before I found out I'm related to Lizzie Borden. So, Yeah, my mother did. While I was writing my books, and I wrote books on. I've been writing books on New England since 2012, and my mother was, she was focusing on our genealogy, and I always thought, to be honest with you, I always thought I was Native American. Like that's how we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
So when I grew up in Florida, like why would I be related to Lizzie Borden? Like that would never cross my mind. And so my mother was doing genealogical research, and she's like, Sam. And I'm like, yes, mother. And my mother's Southern. And she's like, I think we're related to Lizzie Borden. And I'm like, okay. And so she was able to prove it. So I am related to her. I'm actually related to her multiple ways. So it's like a triple connection. It's actually two definite ways. But but yeah, and the person that connects us, this person was recently discovered, Innocent Cornell Borden, and she's the great-great-grandmother, Lizzie Borden's great-great-grandmother. But the thing is, we didn't know we were connected to her because this woman was, her father was accused of murder as well. So she was sort of like, they're trying to like make it look like she wasn't related to our family, but she was.
Wow.
Once they found that out, that opened up a floodgate of connection. And it was like, so Innocent Cornell Borden is our connector, not only relating us to Lizzie Borden, but to other people as well. Like Eileen Warnos is one of our connectors, and that's something that she's a serial killer in Florida that was excellent. And also Marilyn Monroe, which I was wow. That was a huge one. And the Marilyn Monroe was done through forensic genealogy is called, and that's where you actually take DNA and you can connect this people to your family members. And with Marilyn Monroe, she didn't know who her biological father was, and that's up until actually a year and a half ago. We didn't know who her biological father was, and we're able to connect her to Mr. Gifford, and Mr. Gifford, I think it's Charles Gifford. He's also connected to our family too. So we now know who Marilyn's biological father was, because we didn't know that for many years, and she didn't know that. So that's a new find as well.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. So I know Lizzie spent time in the house, and then she spent the last few years at Maplecroft. Where do you feel her energy the most, at the bed and breakfast or Maplecroft?
That, I mean, for me, it's kind of like a loaded question, in the sense that, like, I strongly, so at the murder house, she's called there all the time.
So
they're like, Lizzie, did you kill your father and stepmother? In fact, I have an EVP where I can hear on my recorder, I'm like, the producers were like, this is while filming Curse of Lizzie Borden. They're like, can you say, did you kill your father and stepmother? And I didn't want to say it because she's a family member, and I don't want to keep re-traumatizing her spirit. So I can hear like a blood-curdling scream on the EVP. It was like, stop asking me that question. Like, stop it. But my connection with, and I call her Lisbeth at Maplecroft, when I investigated Maplecroft, I feel like that she's there. And like, so the one that I know, like the distant cousin, is at Maplecroft, her later in life home. But I think a piece of her psychically imprinted itself at the murder house. I really do. And so, almost like, I mean, I call her Crazy Lizzie, like that piece that's still like a splinter that's still stuck there.
So kind of like stone tape theory, like it just kind of, it's part of the spirit, just like replaying itself. Like
it's a little bit more. The stone tape theory, it's almost like a residual haunting. This is a little bit more than that. This is actually almost the point where it's developed its own personality, and it's sinister. It's like a sinister piece of Lizzie that's there, or it's an entity that assumes Lizzie's name
as Lizzie.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like being called Lizzie. She wants to be called Elizabeth.
Lizbeth, and like that's the name she changed. And it could, a lot of people say the reason why she changed her name to distance herself from the trial because it was the crime of the century, and it was on everybody was talking about it. And it was newspaper headlines, but also too, I think that she preferred Lisbeth over Lizzie because Lizzie just reminded her of her childhood. Yeah, like her as a young girl. Yeah,
absolutely. Like I would, if I was in her position, I wouldn't want to be called a name that everyone knows me as that has something connected to like that bad.
But she still had the last name important, so
yeah, that didn't really help. But yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I want to get up there. I don't get to that area very often, but I will make a trip out there one of these days.
And so I will say, having investigated the location for many years before filming Curse of Lizzie Borden, I do feel that the new owners, so the previous owner was amazing, and they were really big about historical accuracy to make sure, because people have their theories as to what really happened. And there's a lot of myths and misconceptions associated with the murder. And the previous owner and the tour guides there were very big about dispelling any myths that were being perpetuated. However, there's a new owner, and the new owner also owns the Villisca Axe Murder House.
Yeah.
So I've only been back once, and I brought my group called Spirit Squad to the Lizzie Borden house, and it definitely has more of like a sensational vibe to it now. And so, I mean, I'm sad that you weren't able to go before because it was amazing. It was really amazing.
Yeah, I haven't been back to Villisca House since they sold it to the new event company, and like I have a weird experience at Villisca that makes me not want to go back, but at the same time, I want to go back. I get called back a lot by the spirits of Villisca, but I'm like, I seriously have PTSD from Villisca, my night there. So I'm like, I don't want to, but I always get called back to that place. So I gotta get back there.
And I have PTSD from the Lizzie Borden murder house too, because I've had so many like recurring dreams, but even before I went there, I was afraid to even go inside. I remember talking to Leanne, was the former owner, and she had to like basically like lure me to go inside. Like I was like so scared to go, because I had this dream where I was like a black and white film, and I saw the murder, like a woman holding a hatchet behind her back and a man sitting on the couch, and it was like black and white. But the thing is, in the dream, a man with a mustache was like right behind what I perceived to be Lizzie Borden, and it was like a line at the bottom. It said "Diablo did it," and you can almost see. Yeah, you see the man almost like she was like his puppet almost. And from that dream, like that's kind of where we came up with the theory that maybe Lizzie was taken over during the murders, because really all signs point to her as being the murderer. But she was acquitted, and the thing is, she was in her 30s. She was a Sunday school teacher. She was small frame. She was about your size, Jenny. She wasn't a tall woman. So the idea that she was able to perform to murder her father and stepmother with such savagery doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah, that definitely does not make sense.
Back then, I didn't have a lot of ways of investigating a case. You know.
Yeah. And that was like before. You're right. Like that was one of the photos from that murder were actually one of the first crime scene photos ever. And even like crime scene photos wasn't a thing up until those murders. And of course, when you look at the murders, they look staged. So they look like someone was propping them up, like Abby Borden was almost like positioned, and and Andrew Borden was also positioned on the couch as well. So that even the crime scene was definitely tampered with. And today you would not do that. You know, you wouldn't mess with the crime scene.
Well, that's kind of like Villisca. Like before the cops even got there was so many people that walked through the house because they heard about the murders, and back then they didn't have like the rules they have now. Like you can't go into crime scenes, you can't do things. Back then, people were walking through the house, picking up things throughout the house, taking them back with them, and yeah, it's definitely different now. But yeah, like
and
very
very similar to with Lizzie Borden. Like the house was not contained, so there were other people coming into the house as well. I mean, Lizzie was there, so Lizzie and Bridget both were there, and the Uncle John Morse. He's the one that I always felt really weird about. He's the one that magically came to the house the night before and stayed with them. And normally he would stay on the third floor, which is on the same floor with Bridget Sullivan, the maid. But he was staying on the second floor, which is where Abby was murdered. So in the room where Abby was murdered was where he was staying during the trial, which always has been fishy for me. But I also know with John Morris, he was able to have a really strong alibi to the point where he knew everybody's name. And I'm like, it's really suspicious how it's like, oh, I talked to this person and I talked to that person and they knew their names, and it was just, I mean, do you remember everything that you do? You know, like I don't.
Right?
Like every conversation I had, he apparently remembered everything that happened on his way to other family members' house outside of Fall River.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's just kind of curious. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Villisca is a place that it's just like for you, it's like you want to go back, but you don't want to go back. Like you keep getting called back. But
yeah, I mean, the Lizzie Borden house definitely keeps calling me back, and with the new owners, I've only gone back once, and my goal was, I told this to Lizbeth. I said, listen, I'm not going to ever call you back to this house. So after filming Curse of Lizzie Borden, I swore that I would never call her back there. So what I did is I did like an apology ritual for Lizbeth at the murder house. I'm like, I will never call you back here. I left the stone. My students were with me, and we were kind of doing this like may you rest in peace kind of thing. So I want her to feel that I support her as a family member. And I would love to exonerate her. And I know it's very, the case has been a whodunit for so many years, but it would be, if there was some way to possibly find another person, as the actual perpetrator, and it's not her, I would love that, or to find out for sure that she was the murderer, because that's what we all think. We all think that she was the murderer.
Yeah.
But if there's a way to exonerate her, I would love that. And there's a piece of evidence that I was able to uncover fairly recent, which to me is a game changer. She was a Sunday school teacher, and at the church, we were able to investigate the church that she was the Sunday school teacher at.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so there's a piece. There's a newsletter that was part of the Sunday school, like mentioned Lizzie Borden in it. And 2 months before the actual murders, her wrists were. She was putting dishes away in the dumbwaiter, and the dumbwaiter fell on her wrist and broke her wrist, or really damaged her wrist.
Oh.
So if you had damaged wrists before a murder, that even like the fact that she was so small frames, what made it difficult, in the first place. But then you add a potential, injury to it. There's just no way she could have done it. I mean, like physically.
No.
And that wasn't like the dumbwaiter thing was not brought up in court, but that's the thing. Like I can't see her physically doing it, but there's no other way that she could have done it. Really, it's like all signs point to her and to Bridget, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, when I see you in July, I'll have to tell you my Villisca story, because it's like, from what I've heard from Johnny, one other person in the paranormal field that has come to him has an EVP just like mine from the house. of what it sounds like. One of the killings, the killer killing one of the girls downstairs. Like, you can hear the scream, you can hear the axe, you can hear the killer saying, "Don't move," and then you hear the axe being thrown down.
And this is an actual EVP?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's intense.
It was caught after a hailstorm that came through the city, but the hailstorm only affected the house that the two neighbor girls lived in, and the museum at the time in town.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
And the house was empty because we were outside. Half of the team went to town to get food to kind of get us to all calm down because we're like, glass was coming in at us. Like, at the time, it was all original windows on the one side of the house. The hail was so big, it broke all the original windows. And we're like, okay, we're going to have Johnny clean up the glass. We're going to have him board up the windows. And no one was in the house when the EVP was caught. Like, it's crazy.
Yes, similar to the Lizzie Borden house, I think Villisca, there's something also going on the land. Like, it's almost, and it could be that it's been investigated so much, Jenny. It's like literally, there's, I do believe people can bring their baggage with them, and they're also their expectations with them, and almost create a ghost by asking the over and over again. And even like when I got the blood curdling scream, like, Lizzie, did you kill your father and stepmother? Am I really talking to Lizzie Borden, or am I talking
to that was created?
Like Zach Bagan's post, he brought in, and
right.
I do think that there's baggage at both locations, but I will say, like the whole hailstorm happening. I had stuff like that happen at the Lizzie Borden house too, where we're just it was almost like it was supernatural, and you can just feel energy there. That doesn't. It's almost a different plane, like weird stuff was happening, and I'm like, I saw ectoplasm, or like a cloud, and I was in the. And this wasn't on camera, but I was with Chris Fleming and Lizzie Borden's room. We were preparing for the seance that we're about to do. And I literally saw like ectoplasm come into the room. And he's like, "Do you see that?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." And we were just sitting there like in awe. And I'm like, "What the hell? What is that?"
What is that, right? Like,
it was like this cloud just kind of came into the room. And I'm like, okay. And yeah, the whole investigation for that show was like another planet. I mean, even working with Chris,
it to a whole new level.
Yeah, it was like Chris and I. We thought we were having a conversation like during the seance. I thought we were getting an argument like while the seance was happening, because Dave was taken over during the seance, and we look at the camera, and it was like we were communicating, but almost on a different plane. And so my producers, I'm like, "Can you show me the part where Chris and I were fighting?" And they were like, "You guys weren't fighting." And I'm like, "Oh, I thought we were like yelling at each other." Because he was like, "Sam," and in this other conversation that I thought we had, and he's like, "Back off," because I was actually holding back the darker energy to let the spirit come through. So Chris was doing his thing with Dave, but then Dave was getting taken over. So it was like next level paranormal. I've never had an investigation that intense.
Oh wow, definitely that would be something else. Definitely. So I know like paranormal investigators go in. I know this is something that you talk about a lot. Crossing spirits over on investigations. In your opinion, should paranormal investigators go in and cross spirits over on investigations? Or if you do feel like they could, what is your thoughts on how to do it properly? Because I know people have done them not properly and have had issues afterwards.
Yeah, so my good friend Heidi Kemper, she and I do a discussion called Ethics in Mediumship that we are bringing across the country we've done Savannah already, and we did Hanover Tavern Paracon, and it was wonderful. So my thoughts are with crossing spirits over. First of all, you have to be trained. I really believe in being trained in it, and I will say the thing that when I worked with Chris Fleming, he's the one that really kind of like trained me as far as crossing spirits over. So I do have that training, and learning from Chris Fleming was amazing, and so. I strongly feel that certain people, you have to be trained to be able to do it. And I also definitely you have to have permission from the property owners to be able to cross spirits over. And so to me, like I've seen them go really awry very fast. I have a friend who crossed the spirit over on the U.S. to Salem in Quincy, Massachusetts, and she did it. I wasn't in the room with her. We were both kind of doing different teams, and she's like, "Sam, I just crossed the spirit over. It was so beautiful." And then what happened is she opened up a portal, and something dark came through and chased her off the ship, and she wasn't the same after. So when you cross the spirit over, you are lifting the veil. You're basically like kind of opening a hole to the other plane, another like opening it up
another
to
dimension.
Another dimension. That's the right word. And opening a portal up, and other things can come through, especially if it's something holding back a spirit. And that's what happened when we crossed spirits over at the Lizzie Borden house. And this is right before it was about to change ownership. So we did cross spirits over, but there was major retaliation by the darker entities holding back those spirits. So I say, if you do it, there's going to be potential retaliation. So I really feel that you have to be highly trained to be able to do it. Heidi comes from I'm also in the school too, where it's more like a shaman approach to crossing spirits over instead of like a Judeo-Christian approach to crossing spirits over. I do believe that if you kind of you work with what the spirit. If they were super Catholic, you definitely approach it in a Catholic way, like almost like call Archangel Michael to come down from heaven and bring the person back up to heaven. However, I also feel like you should do it with another medium and not do it on your own. I mean, what are your thoughts, Jane? I'm kind of curious if you cross spirits over and what your thoughts are.
I have not. I don't feel like I'm that level yet with my abilities. And definitely, like you said, you have to talk to the owners of the location before you even think about doing it. Because some locations they even bills, if they come, they come. If they go, they go. If they come back, it's fine. Bill doesn't want spirits crossed over all the time.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't do it. I've seen my friend Scotty Work do it, and we did it at a location last fall when I was under Estes. They were calling out for help, and through me, I guess, I don't know. They didn't record this session, but I guess they were calling out for help or something during my Estes. So they crossed over one of the little boy spirits there. But again, I don't feel comfortable doing it. If there's psychic mediums that can do it and they're willing to, and the location's okay with it, I don't see an issue. It's just you have to be protective of when you're doing it and then afterwards, because you don't want something else to come in that's, like you said, not so nice or on the good intentions.
Yeah, I mean, like when it was done before, that was my first experience with someone crossing the spirit over, and this was years ago, and it really changed her life. It really she had an attachment. This thing taunted her for almost a year or even longer.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I highly recommend, working with Scotty. Absolutely trust him. So I think that he would be a great person to work with. But I also think that, you hear all the time, someone tried to cross over spirits and they didn't send them to the right place. I've heard that before. And I'm like, okay, or they didn't cross them over effectively. I'm also in this. Heidi and I talk about this in our lecture that if you effectively cross over a spirit, they can come back. So it's not like you're sending them over to the other side forever. They can come back, and we just want to show them how to get to the light. And a lot of times, probably in your situation, when you were channeling a spirit through the Estes method, like the young child, the child is probably being held back by something, and you see that all the time. Like the dark energy is holding back the children, almost like feeding off their energy, which is horrible. In that situation, I'm definitely get that child out of that situation. And like I'm getting emotional thinking about that, because like just having a child being like food for a darker energy is just horrible, And in that situation, absolutely. And like you did the right thing.
Like Scotty, I've known Scotty for almost 20 years. He was the one that told me, hey, you have abilities, tap into them. And it wasn't until after I went to Waverly Hills a second time I got I don't want to say like taken over by something, but it was to that point. And it was like the most, I get PTSD from Waverly Hills from that experience too. But I had come back to the hotel where he was, because it was during Mid-South, the big paranormal conference of the year down in Kentucky. And I was shaken up to the point that I could barely stand or even talk. And he goes, did you shut yourself down before you went into Waverly Hills? I'm like, no. At that time, I didn't know how to shut my abilities down or anything. So he really helped me learn how to shield myself and protect myself, especially after that scary situation at Waverly Hills when I was literally like taken over, and it felt like my chest was being ripped open and my lungs being like putting tubes in my lungs. And that's what patients at Waverly Hills had done to be treated for TB. So I was literally felt like one of the patients at Waverly Hills. So now I know how to protect myself from having that type of experience again because of Scotty. So
you have to go in with a crystal shield. I mean, I've learned the hard way, guys. So like it's like
I definitely learned the hard way.
And like when you describe that story, I'm like, I've had that happen too. Like I walk into like the most haunted location and I'm like, like taken over by something. And I went to the Sally House, and people reported going to Sally House not having any problems.
I've been there once, yep.
And I walked in with Richard Estep, and I'm like, well, I do a crystal shield of protection, which is like a Reiki shield. Yep. Did it right in front of the door. I walk in, Richard lets me into the door. As soon as I walk in, this thing, like I can't like alien almost, like this thing came on my face and like literally was like I couldn't breathe. I'm like, like walking into the Sally House, and Richard's like, Sam, are you okay? And I'm like, no.
See, that was me. That was me at Waverly. Like I was fine on the first, second, third, and fifth floor. And then I went to the fourth floor, and we were on just like a regular night tour because my mom and my boyfriend at the time hadn't been. So I'm like, let's go. I went a year before when I wasn't open as a psychic medium empath. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now I have my gifts. Maybe I could tap into them a little more, but I didn't protect myself. And we got to the fourth floor. I had that intuition, got like, don't go. Something's going to happen to you. And went down to the OR. As soon as I stepped over that threshold, I was bent over, crying, screaming. I couldn't breathe. So I know that feeling. Like as soon as you step into something, you're taken over. Like you can't breathe, you can't talk.
Right.
That's how it was at Waverly for me. So I know that feeling.
And so, and what I see in your future, though, Jenny, like so, this is what I learned. Like if it's any consolation, so it does get better. What happens is you find that the spirits feed off of your fear, and if you go in with fear, they're going to see that, and they're going to have fun with you. Like they're going to do whatever they can to scare you because they want that. Yeah, fueled by fear. Wrote the book
was gonna say this turns into a whole book that you just wrote.
Yeah, Fueled by Fear, and so it definitely feeds off of your fear.
Mhm.
And I have tried that, and I definitely I have experienced less attacks, if you will, by going in and really not giving the fear that they want.
Yeah.
However, like, they keep pushing the envelope as far as like trying to make it even more terrifying, if you will. Because when I first started investigating, I was chicken. Like, I really was like, I would be like screaming, and I was a mess, you know. Even like that face on the cover of my book, like Richard Estep always kind of laughs at that face because like that's what I look like.
That's what you went and did the Sally House. You're like,
yeah, that's me. He has an EVP. Well, not EVP, but he has. We were investigating a hospital. It was in Tennessee. It was one of the hospitals, not the Pittsburgh hospital, but the one old
Harriman.
Harriman. Investigating Harriman. So I was there. He came in through another room wearing like a cloak, and I see him like he was wearing like a sweatshirt with a hoodie, but it looked like a cloak. And he came out of another room, and I started screaming just like that picture. And and the scream is hilarious because I'm like oh, like that. And he plays it for everybody that he still has, or the last time I talked to him, he has it. So it's hilarious. I scream like a girl.
I've yet to be at Old Harriman. Ronnie D keeps messaging me. He goes, when you coming down to do Old Harriman? You've been to Old South like 6 times, but you haven't been to Old Harriman. I'm like, host an event and bring me as a guest because it's not cheap to get there from Minnesota.
Yeah, the Harriman hot, like we spent, it was very cold, and it was very active. Like Richard was working on a book, and I was there as the medium at the location, and this is like right after it was filmed for Destination Fear. Not necessarily, it was the group with Dakota. What's the name of that show?
Project Fear.
Project Fear. Yep. And so, it was, so they were filmed it a couple of weeks before, so you could still feel their energy there too. But it was very active. We saw a shadow person on the second floor. Yeah, it's super active location.
I definitely want to get there. It's on my list because I've been through Old South like so many times I can count on my hands, and I know the spirits of Old South very well. But Ronnie keeps messaging me, when you coming down? When you gonna come down? I'm like, I want to. I like the week after he bought it, Project Fear was there. So I'm like, okay, I know I need to come down. I know, Ronnie, I just need to figure out time and money. Like, it's not cheap to go from Minnesota all the way to Tennessee.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's one of those trips that I take, because I'm originally from the South, so I go down there a lot. But I fly into Knoxville, which are to Knoxville or Pigeon Forge, like that area, and so it's close to that in Tennessee. So I would recommend flying, but that was another phobia. I had a fear of flying, especially now with all the planes crashing. It's like I'm scared of. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fly like I did before.
Right. I haven't flown this year yet. I fly next month, or in like 2.5 weeks. I'm like, I'm gonna be like, good juju, please. Like, I'm like, my husband's like, you should just drive to Detroit. I'm like, no, I'm not. I just need to go for 2 days, not even 2 days. And I'll fly. It'll be fine. I'll buy the Wi-Fi so I can keep you updated at this point. But yeah, flying's just for me.
I have to look at my schedule because I'm trying my best not to fly. Because I fly like almost every weekend. And
you fly a lot.
I do, and a lot of it really was to conquer my fear, because I was terrified of flying at one point. Like, I couldn't even get on a plane, and so I had to work through therapy. It's like immersion therapy, where you kind of like baby step it. First you get on the plane with a friend, and then the first time I went solo, I was next to a guy on the plane. I was like holding on to his arm, like his arm like changed color. And I'm like, sir, can I hold on to your arm? He's like, okay.
You're like, you have a new BFF for this trip. Thank you.
He was really sweet, but I think I cut the circulation off of his arm when I was holding on to him. And
you're like, can I give you some money for this? Like, thank you.
And so it was like that for me for a long time, and now I do it so often. It's almost like if I waited like a year to fly, I think I wouldn't be able to do it. But now that I do it so often, it kind of forces me to do it, and I find that I'm okay. But with the latest developments, I'm like, I'm on the plane the whole time, and I'm just like looking. I'm like, it's gonna crash, it's gonna crash. But I have to remind myself with planes, especially, like it's the safest way to travel. Still, even with what's happened recently. But I can't get that. I can't get the idea that I'm up in a tin can up in the air. You know, like, and I'm also a big fan of the show Yellow Jackets, which is. And yeah, so I watched that show, and I'm like, they got in a plane accident, and I'm like, I don't want to end up in Canada, like cannibalizing people, and like,
oh my god,
yeah, I just don't. I have. This is what I think about when I'm on a plane, you know.
No, I just put my headphones on and I watched a show or pass out. One of the two. I was like, watch a TV show, scroll through Facebook, or just sleep. Otherwise, I'm like, just staring at my hands like, okay, is this flight over yet?
Yeah, just don't watch Yellow Jackets on the plane.
I've never seen that. Now I have to look into it.
I love it. I'm binging it.
I love it. Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows. They get in a plane accident, and like that's what happens it's like a soccer team, a girls' soccer team from New Jersey, and they're flying to the West Coast. And they divert into Canada, and they crash in Canada, and they're stuck there for like almost 2 years.
Holy crap! Okay,
and they create like kind of like a cult with like the nature or whatever's there on the land and stuff, and then it's crazy. You have to watch it. You would love it.
I have to watch it.
I think you would like it because like the wilderness is like there's potential like paranormal stuff going on too. So you don't know if it's paranormal or if it's trauma. And that's fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm. Jamie Lynn says hi.
Hey, Jamie Lynn.
Yeah, Jamie. Love you.
So what secret do you have or you use to blast through writer's block? Because we all know writer's block is a true thing. Like, that is hard to get through. And I expect that you have writer's block at some point after writing all these books that you've written.
Well, it's kind of similar to like when I was describing the plane trips. You got to keep doing it. So if you wait like a year to like write and expect to like pick up where you left off a year ago, you're not going to. So it's like working the muscle. And so even if I, I'm on a break between writing books, I still try my best to write. So whether it's a story for like Haunted Magazine or even blog posts, I try my best to, and a lot of times like my blog posts are like my journal, like my diary. So if I post something about like, oh, I went to Old Harriman Hospital and this happened, that can also like that experience I can maybe pull from my book later on, like so I say chronicle. A lot of times though, when I write on like social media about what's going on, I'm like, guys, I'm just telling you, like I'm using this as a diary, like I'm not expecting you'll have people kind of like try to I don't know, like debunk what you're saying, and I'm like, no, this is my perspective, and I'm gonna probably use this for a book later. So I haven't done that as much as I used to. I used to, everything I did, I would chronicle it, and also like what's good about social media, it is kind of like a litmus test. You'll see whether or not if people respond to it or they're like, oh, I don't believe that, like you'll get the naysayers on social media. But I mean, for me, like my life has been one weird experience after another. So, like my perception, like at Old Harriman, for example, like I saw a shadow at the very end. I took a picture of it, and everyone was trying to debunk it. And I'm like, guys, like that, like it turns out like that hallway, multiple people have reported the shadow figure at the end of the hallway. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't what I wasn't trying to like capture. I wasn't trying to be on paranormal caught on camera. I was trying to chronicle what was going on. But yeah, so when it comes to writer's block, just keep writing and literally whether it's just a blog post or social media post or even like writing a letter. I just think that you have to work the muscle.
Definitely. So when you go to these new locations, do you go in cold? Like, because I know you're a medium psychic. Yeah. I know a lot of psychics don't like knowing anything before going into a location.
Yeah.
Is that what you do too? Is like you go cold?
Yeah. And I will say now in New England, it's hard for me because I know because I've written books about all the locations in New England. But what's good about that is I don't know anywhere else. So when I went to Broadhead, I didn't know any. I go in cold to the locations across the country, which is awesome because people will bring me in. Like Old Harriman Hospital, I didn't know anything about the backstory except for that it was a hospital. But I mean, I've had
tell by the name.
Yeah, exactly. But when it came to like when I got like I'm write books, so I like the history. So what I try to do is I go in cold, I read the property, and then I dig into the history after. And so I do. So there is a war going on with me when it comes to my mediumship coupled with my skills as a historian author, and like how do I balance those two? But I will, if I'm doing like a TV show, like I did the House of Between Two, and they literally put me in a blindfold, didn't tell me where I was going, and I really prefer that because it does it really makes it difficult for people because people are like they want like, oh, he's cheating, he like did a Google search before, and I didn't know where I was going. So I think that those situations, I think it's important to go in cold. If you're going to be a medium, if you're going to go in as like an author, which I have done, like especially with my books, like the Haunted Castles book that I'm working on now. I went in not as a medium, but as an author. And the book that you flashed earlier, Goes to Sleepy Hollow, like that one. I didn't go in as a medium. I went in as an author historian. Yeah, Goes to Sleepy Hollow. And that was so much fun to write. And also in that book, what's interesting is I really go into the idea of like the thought form manifestations. And that's something that I think a lot of what we're dealing with in the paranormal are ghosts that are created by egregores or by telling stories over and over again, almost creating creating these ghosts that are these entities that are actually not based on actual people. They were created like a thought form manifestation.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Hey, Sam, we had a question in the chat. Have you ever been scared out of your britches during a situation?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, the Fueled by Fear that I was telling you earlier with Richard, because like the thing is we were at Old Harriman Hospital and he comes out from the other room wearing like this he looked like a druid. He looked like this cloaked figure, but he was really wearing a hoodie. But that really, I mean, I screamed bloody murder. Like it was like the scream of the century. And he has it, of course, on his recorder and about me screaming. So that scared me. Usually it's stuff that that's silly, like stuff like that, like where it, I think I see something coming out of the corner and it's Richard Estep. I think of a good example where I was really scared because I really have worked on that because like when I first started investigating, I was like Scooby-Doo, like I was always like whoa, like always scared, and I really have worked on not being scared. Like I've had situations where I was like lifted up in a seance and thrown on the ground like a rag doll, and that happened actually pretty recently. And the seance, it was a seance that went awry, and that was terrifying. But I didn't show fear though. Like I was if it was caught on camera, it would have been horrific. But what's interesting about it, as soon as it started happening, the cameras shut off, and my friend Danny and Lauren Perez were filming, and it literally shut off while this was going on. But I was lifted up from the table. My arms were lifted like like a tree. Like I looked like a tree. Like that's pretty much what
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was weird. And
That's
then
great.
thrown on the ground. And this is after kind of going to locations with the idea that I wasn't going to be afraid. So I still controlled my emotion. I didn't give it what it wanted. But I think elemental energies are more terrifying than sort of like the spirits, like the negative spirits that I've encountered in the field. So elementals can be very, very dangerous. And getting back to Broadhead Manor, I think that there's elementals at Broadhead that if you mess with them,
absolutely.
If you mess with them, then they will mess you up.
They will.
Yeah,
mess you up. Like they've done that to Bill. Like he's driven home and don't even remember how he got home. Like
yeah.
The elementals at Broadhead, if you make them mad, they can cause some issues. Definitely.
Yeah. A friend of ours was upstairs on the 3rd floor, and it was late, like 2, 3 in the morning. They just kept asking questions, and eventually, apparently, he got choked out. He was on the floor, like passed out, and that's when they came back down. We're like, what happened? And they explained everything. Well, they had enough.
Yeah, definitely. The spiritual at Broadhead will tell you when to stop. Definitely. Like, I've had things thrown at me from the principal to tell me to stop. So, me and him have a good, fun relationship at Broadhead. So,
yep. The one place I was with, I was downstairs in the boiler room, and like that, that was fairly more.
Sorry, press the wrong button.
Yeah, I just feel like that like the like it's more the whatever's in the boiler room attacks women and not men. So I personally didn't have a bad experience in there, but a lot of the women that were in the room with us, they were affected. So so I found that I mean my experience at Broadhead was actually magical and beautiful, but I can see that there's other negative stuff there too.
Well, I like with the principal and the janitor, they're old-time men. They come from the time when women were seen, not heard. And you know me, I have such a powerful personality that I go in and I'm myself. So I'm always like, I want to hear you. I can see you. I can hear you, but I want to like see you on video. I want to hear you on audio. And the time that you saw on Expedition Entity, since then, every time I walk into Broadhead, if you have a spirit box going, you will hear the principal tell me to go to detention.
Right.
Every single time. Like I walk in, turn the spirit box on, it'll be Jenny detention, Jenny detention, Jenny detention. And it's because Bill made the comment that should Jenny go to detention. So now it's the running joke between me and the principal.
Right.
And the last time I was there in October, it was me, Josh Porvis, and Michael Gagliano, and Larry, and my mom, and Bill. And we were sitting in the principal's office. I'm like, okay, I know you're in here. I can see you. I can feel you. What do you have to say? And all of a sudden, from the back room where the 3 beds are, a piece of plaster or rock or something came thrown at me. I'm like, is that all you have for me today? You want me out? And all of a sudden I felt sick to my stomach. I'm like, okay, I'm gone. You sent me a message. I'm done. Goodbye. And I walk out and Michael's like, you're gonna puke, aren't you? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. I'm like, the principal doesn't like me. I'm like, oh.
That's funny.
And I spent the night in that room. I'm like, as soon as I hit that pillow, I'm like, you cannot do anything to me. Good night. I'm closed off for the night.
Oh, did you sleep there?
I've slept there 4 times, 5 times now.
Yeah, I don't think I could. I don't think I could sleep there. Like I really don't. I don't know people that have, and they're like, "Oh, I slept like a baby there," but I really don't think I could. I'm really big about not sleeping at haunted locations, but I have obviously. But yeah.
it's like when you get like to 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and you're like, you don't want to drive, so you just stick around.
Yeah.
I personally can sleep like a baby at haunted locations. Like, if I get to that point, I'm out. Like, I close myself down, and I'm like, I am going to bed. You have had your time to talk to me. You can go do something else in the building. I'm going to lay here and get some sleep before I have to go home. And, like, I was at the Hoover House in Waynesboro in December. First night, I slept like a baby. Second night, I forgot to shut myself down. And all I had all night was spirits talking to me in the ear and pulling my blankets off. I'm like, okay, it is time to go bye. Bye-bye. Go. Like, I need to get on the plane in the morning. I need my sleep.
And that's exactly what happens to me. Like, every time I go to a haunted location and I sleep there, it's like, that's why, like, I like working at haunted hotels. I don't like sleeping at haunted hotels. And so, yeah, I mean, even though like it's set up for you to sleep there, it's like, I try my best to stay at locations that are not haunted, because especially locations that are investigated a lot. Like the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast. So like I would investigate there, but I wouldn't stay there. I've only stayed at that house, and I've investigated it probably about like several dozen times, but I've only stayed there like 2 or 3 times. Like I can't. When I slept, I never could sleep. So yeah.
Like I said, I just get to the point that I shut myself down, and I'm like, cannot interfere with me. But yeah, some locations, like, I would never sleep at Velisca ever again. No, I'm good. Yeah, I'll go buy a hotel 2 towns away.
The one place I went when I went to the Sally house, I was supposed to spend the night there. And I'm like, I can't sleep here, Richard. And I basically, he's like, Sam, you left me. And I'm like, I got a hotel room like down the street.
See, like, I went to the Sally house last year as just like a day tour. I'm like, I could never sleep here. Nope, the energy here is a little too off for me. And I remember doing an Estes, and my friend's like, you were channeling something that wasn't nice. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely never sleeping here. That's all I can say. Like, nope, Sally House, I cannot sleep there. But where can people see you this year? Where can they find your books and all that fun information?
Yeah, if you go to my website, sambaltrusis.com, it lists all my events. There's so many events coming up. It's hard to like remember all of them, but the big one is the Paranormal Rockdown. I'm glad that you both are going to be there for Paranormal Rockdown in July. I do have other events coming up that I mean, it's all listed as you have listed there. And then I'm trying to think what else. Oh, for my books, you can go to Amazon, type in Sam Baltrusis. A lot of my books, like the one that I would always recommend starting off with is Ghost of Salem, and then kind of expand from there. Like Ghost of Sleepy Hollow is another one that I highly recommend. And then just kind of look at all my books. So I know that Jenny, you've got some of my books too, and I think like Fueled by Fear is a good one. Yep. And if you want to learn more about my relationship with Lizzie Borden, Related to Evil is a book that I would recommend for that.
Oh, awesome. I'll have to get that one. I don't think I have that one. I'll have to check my books. Between you and Richard, you keep my bookshelves stocked.
Yeah, I keep track. I've written 18, but Richard's like on the 30 now. I'm like, I can't compete with that.
I know, like I'm on his Patreon, and every time he comes out with a new book, he sends them to his Patreon. I'm like, yay! Okay, here's another book to be added to the list of places I need to go. Yeah. And then whenever I travel, airplane, car ride, I always bring at least 1 or 2 of Richard's books I haven't read yet. I'm like, okay, here's my reading for the trip. But yeah, I'm excited to see you in July. I know Alisha is excited to meet you.
I am. And Derek, you need to meet my husband. He's a part of the team also. I feel like you guys would have so much in common because he gets scared at like little things, like during investigations too. It's so funny. And then he's also afraid of flying. So I feel like you guys will flex so well.
Yeah, and also too, like I'm doing what's called a Samance, and that is I think it's an additional. I'm not sure if it costs extra money, but I think it does. Like an extra ticket,
I
but
think
that's
it's like
amazing
20
too.
$30, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable, and I
Yeah.
highly recommend it because like a lot, like Bill doesn't really like allow for seances there.
No,
So
he doesn't.
when I do it, I call it a seance because it is it's kind of like a gallery reading coupled with so it's almost more like a gallery reading, but the goal is really to read the spirits of the room, and also other things come through as well, like family members do come through. So it probably should be called like it is a seance, but it's a little different. Like my approach to it.
Like
I've never been a part of one of those either, so that would be a first for me. Also checked up on the list.
I highly recommend it, and I think that a lot of people like Larry said that he did a seance event after, and he's like, I was inspired by your seance last year. He did one at a location in Illinois. So
the glass house.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely seances can be very dangerous, but if you do it right and you I studied with Patty Negri. I learned from Patty Negri. She's sort of like the queen of seances, you know.
Oh yeah,
so,
she absolutely is. Like
yeah.
I've done a seance with Chris Fleming at Broadhead, and that was
wow. I didn't know Chris Fleming did a seance there. Yeah, that.
It wasn't like it was at the very end of his event that he had at Broadhead, and it was like I want to say 20-30 minutes, but it was interesting because we connected with one of the elementals and then the other spirits of the building, and it was really interesting having them come through. Chris Fleming, and then like members of people in the crowd, family members came through too, so it was really interesting.
Yeah,
my husband. Sorry.
No, that was really similar to what happened to me too. Like the elementals were coming through, and so it's interesting. I didn't realize Chris did a seance there as well. And Chris and I have done seances together. We did Curse of Lizzie Borden together. So Derek, if you're going to the Paranormal Rockdown, it's Broadhead Manor. Jenny, when is the Paranormal Rockdown? It's like July 19th.
18th and 19th.
18th and 19th. There's going to be bands there, a couple of paranormal investigations, gallery readings, lectures, and then a seance. So I highly recommend it. And again, my approach is definitely different than the sort of the traditional seance. And it's more about using your abilities to tap into the energies of the room. And that's how Chris does it too. Chris and I have a very similar approach to our seances.
Definitely. Well, I know I'm going to get a ticket for that because I want to see how you do it versus Chris, because I've seen how Chris does his. Now I want to see other mediums do it because I've seen Patty Negri do one before too. So
yeah, I kind of like take how Chris we did the one for Curse of Lizzie Borden. I mean, as you saw, it went terribly awry when Dave Schrader was. So I don't know if I would recommend that approach. I mean, I'm not saying that Chris is the wrong way, but really Chris and I did that together. It wasn't just Chris. It was he and I working together. So I learned my lesson. And poor Dave Schrader was like taken over by something. Well, he was fighting. What was really going on? He was fighting automatic writing, and that's what that was really. So like he was trying to fight it, and that's why he was being taken over. But the Luann, who was the lady next to me, she was also getting taken over too. So it was just like my first seance with Chris Fleming was like terrifying. it was like, but so like don't do that at home, kids. But after that, I definitely trained with Patty because I wanted to like hone this skill, and she really has I'm in control now. So before I wasn't in control, they controlled me. Now I'm in control of the room.
Definitely. Well, we will definitely have to get you back on the show in the fall because we definitely didn't hit all the topics we wanted to tonight because we just kept having great conversations. But I know you have to get to work.
I do.
To your other job.
Yeah, right.
So drive safe and have a great night at work.
All right. Good night, guys. I'll see you
Thank
at the
you.
Paranormal
Bye.
Lockdown.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
So that was Sam. Absolutely. We will definitely have to get him back on because it was a great conversation.
I feel like we can keep talking to him
Right?
for whenever.
Right. So since we dived right into the conversation with Sam, we will do our little spirals right now. We still have t-shirts available, hoodies, long sleeves. If you're interested, get a hold of us and we will get those ordered. We still have Moxie Malas still available. They are $44 plus shipping, or you can pick them up directly from me. And I have to sneeze.
Bless you.
Maybe. It's like I hate that feeling. Our sponsors, Small Town Productions, Larry Eisler III, and Breaking Fate Entertainment. As you can see, I am wearing that sweatshirt today. Since my house decided to kill the furnace today, I am freezing. Next event I have coming up, I believe, is Booth on the Battleship, April 26th. I know if you go to the Facebook page, I believe tomorrow morning or as soon as it turns tomorrow, they have a giveaway. If you're one of the first 2 people to message the page, you can win tickets to Booth on the Battleship in North Carolina on the Battleship, which is amazing. With that ticket, you get all day admission. And then you get that whole evening, that night until 3 a.m. There's a great lineup of people. So check that out. Otherwise, I will be at Penhurst in May. I'm super excited. Next week's guest is Horn Paranormal. And then we have Kelly Hopla, who is hosting Paraventure. It is an online Paracon benefiting Michigan's Autism Alliance of Michigan. Super cheap, perfect day to spend listening to amazing people like Shane Pittman, Dave Schrader, MJ Dickinson, Richard Estep, Larry will do it. I know Michael and Mary Lynn was just added. And if you're in Michigan, near Bay City, you can attend at a haunted theater and do a mini investigation as well. Super excited. I will be flying to Michigan that day to do Eloise the next day, but I will be watching everything as I'm flying to Michigan on April 5th. It is that out. It's a great cause with great people being part of it. Then we're talking about this throughout the show. Paranormal Lockdown, July 18th and 19th in Bradhead, Wisconsin. Huge lineup of people. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a fun event. Super excited for that event. And then we have Gettysburg Battlefield Bash the following weekend after Paranormal Lockdown. Great causes. Wounded Warrior PA. Dana's Pink Wishes. Can't remember them all, but amazing event with great people. It's more like a family reunion every time you go. And then we have Dark Arts and Oddities, November 15th and 16th in DeKalb, Illinois. Check that out. But yeah, that's what we have. I know me and Alisha have an investigation coming up in 2 months.
Too far away.
I know it's too far away. Let me just get through April.
Like we're going into summer. We're not even. We're just skipping spring and.
Let's just skip spring. Go straight to May. Let's go to the end of May when we all get together and have a Paris slumber party at a haunted old person place. You know, that's
an old person place.
An arsenal. I couldn't think of the word. The old people place that people.
Well, what were we just talking about during the show that we both haven't been to that we wanted to go and the Titanic Museum in Branson, Missouri.
Let's just hop in the car and go the next day right on track.
we could do that.
Cough into work, call into work, be like, I'm sick. I'll be back in 3 days.
I'll bring my equipment. We can just walk around the museum and just
Right?
investigate during the museum opening.
Right? Let's just do that. But yeah, I know Derek, me, Alisha, Tom, Larry, and a whole bunch of people get to go hang out on May 25th and investigate 2 locations. I'm super excited.
I don't get to go to 2. I get to go to 1.
No, it's 2 locations in one.
Wait.
Pine Lawn is one building, and then the rehab center is connected.
Ooh.
2 locations in one.
Okay. All right.
That's why there's 2 challenges. You get strapped into a wheelchair for 15 minutes alone in the building, and you get strapped to a gurney in the rehab center.
Kinky.
We're not going X-rated.
Okay. PG.
We'll behave. Let's behave.
Okay.
We misbehave on the live from Pinehorn. We'll see how much trouble we can get into. I'm super excited for that investigation. I just gotta get through Booze on the Battleship. I gotta get through Penhurst, and then it'll be free time. Because I literally come home. I think 2 days before I head to Ashmore from Penhurst. I'm crazy, I'm crazy.
It's all right. The best are.
Right? Oh, it's not as bad as like July. I go down to Broadhead, spend 2 days in Broadhead, and then go to Gettysburg and do 4 investigations. And then we leave Gettysburg and we go up to New York and do another investigation.
All right, quit rubbing it in. All right.
I'm gonna hijack you. I'm just gonna hijack you one day, and we're just gonna go investigate without Derek.
Derek and Tom were just talking about doing just a guide thing on Sunday. So yeah.
You're only like 3.5 hours from me, so we can go do a girls' day and go find a haunted location to hang out at. Bye, boys. But y'all come back next Sunday. We have Horn Paranormal, and we'll be talking about paranormal equipment they make, like the XLSs, SLSs, and all their fun little toys they make. I own like almost all of their equipment. But not me in the equipment, right? But we'll be back next Sunday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Have a great night, you all. I gotta grab the